Hey everybody, welcome. My name is Allie McCall, and today we are going to do a class that kind of focuses on the hips and a little bit of the back and building back strength. So we'll start seated, sitting nice and tall, and sitting on a blanket can help with that. And you can let your eyes close or just relax your gaze. And bring your attention to your breath. As you exhale, breathe down into the hips. Feel the legs and bones settling into the earth. Get grounded in your seat. And as you inhale, grow tall, lengthening through the spine. Breathe lots of space in between the ribs. Breathe lots of space around the heart on all sides, into the armpits, the back of the heart, front of the heart, and keep lengthening up through the throat and the crown. And keep that inner lift as you exhale. And let the shoulders settle onto the back of the heart. And continue to watch your breath grow deeper. Relax your jaw, your tongue, the muscles around your eyes and lips. And do your best to sit tall, but try to relax your belly. Let your belly be soft as you breathe. And I'm going to share with you the Anapati Sutta phrases. Breathing in, one knows they are breathing in. Breathing out, one knows they are breathing out. And breathing in, one knows the body. Breathing out, one knows the body. Breathing in, one calms the body. Breathing out, one calms the body. Breathing in, one knows peace, contentment. Breathing out, one knows peace and ease. And the next time you inhale, bring your hands together in front of your heart. And take this time to set an intention for your practice, to make an offering or a prayer. And we'll start this class chanting one Om together. Inhale, stretch your arms up to the sky, reaching up. And then you'll exhale and Om, bring your hands to your heart. Om. And bow your head to your heart. And release your hands. All right, we're going to start hands and knees. And you can get into a little bit of cat and cow once you get there. If you need a little blanket for your knees for padding, you can use that under your knees. And spread the fingers nice and wide. Tuck your toes so your feet get a little stretched too. And just start to, just a little organic movement, maybe a little wiggle or a cat and cow, just kind of arriving here. And then I want you to think about starting the cat and cow from the pelvis. So we're going to kind of think about pelvic tilts. So inhale, let the tailbone lead the way, and that will kind of ripple up through the back and through the middle back, and then the heart starts to open, and big breath in, lift the skin of the heart, feel your collarbone smile. And then again, leading with the tailbone, so start with the tailbone curling down, and try to just really play with rolling through all the vertebrae, and really articulating. Again, inhale, start at the tailbone reaches up, ripples through the back, and then slowly the heart opens. Keep pushing the knuckles down. When your heart opens, keep pulling the belly muscles in into the body. Exhale, curl the tailbone down and bow in. And one or two more. Just go with your breath. Keep your legs really strong. So the strength of your legs will help the mobility in the pelvis. Tailbone leads the way. And then come back to neutral, and you're going to imagine that you're drawing a circle on the back wall with your tailbone. So kind of reaching your tailbone over to one side, up to the sky. You can bend the elbows a little bit, and then over to the side and down towards the earth. So lead with the tailbone, but it will start to ripple through the rest of the body, and the ribs will start to spiral too, and your head might start to circle too. And it kind of turns into like a corkscrew. But really try to hit all the edges of that circle. And then pause back in center. You need to shake out the wrists a little bit. And then we'll go the other way. You can always come to the ridge tops or fingertips if your wrists get tired. Mine tend to get tired. So leading with the tailbone, just make sure you're going the other way. So tailbone starts to circle. You're drawing a circle on the back wall. And notice where your body tends to kind of skip over a corner or an edge. Maybe slow down there a little bit. Keep breathing. And also start to play with noticing the femur bones, how they roll around in the hips and the pelvis. And start to let the head go a little more, a little bigger. And then once again, back to neutral. And then take the block between your thighs. I forgot to mention you'll need a block and a ball. So if you need to grab that, push pause, go grab it. So block between the thighs, you're hugging the block, and pull the ribs into the body. You're doing your best to have the natural curves in the back. So natural curve in the low back, natural curve in the back of the neck. And without a lot of wiggling in the hips, so really squeeze the block, come to your left fingertips, and then drop the left fingertips down and come to the right. So you're just playing with kind of, and keep going, shifting the weight side to side without moving the body too much. Super strong and stable in the pelvis. And then you can add on, start to take the arm way up by your ear and down. Keep squeezing the block. Pull the ribs into the body and keep breathing. Big breath into the heart space. Feel the skin of the heart lifting. And then we'll take the block out and play with the legs too. So keep hugging in. So this pelvis is really stable, like you are hugging that block. And then bring the left fingertips forward and the right toes back. And then just kind of re-engage. Pretend you're hugging that block. And then from here, it's an inhale, lift the leg as high as your hip, lift the arm as high as your face, and then tap it down. So again, I come to ridge tops just to give my wrist a break. But work really hard to stabilize pelvis, keep the belly strong. You can go up and down a few times. And make sure you're breathing. Relax your face. And then switch. Left hand down and right. So stabilize the hips. Pretend you're hugging that block. Right fingers forward, left toes back, and then re-engage. Hug in, squeeze that imaginary block, and then play with lifting and lowering. And as long as you are keeping the back super steady and still, you can play with going higher. If you start to lift the arm and you get the break in the ribs, then just play with a little bit lower until you build that strength. And then you can keep playing this way, or if you want to add on where you're switching sides, so you would right hand down and switch, or you can keep working the one side. Keep pushing your knuckles down. Try not to lock the elbows, a little micro bend in the elbows. And then when you've had enough, big hip circles. Just kind of whatever your body needs after that. That was hard work. Maybe some rib circles or a little forward and back. Just take a couple breaths to kind of shake it out. And then bring the hips back over the knees for puppy pose. Walk your hands forward on your fingertips. Take a big inhale into the underarms. I like to imagine like there's a pokey cactus under your armpits that you don't want to touch the cactus. So keep lifting your arm bones, your armpits up, and then see if you can keep the ribs in the body and slowly let the heart soften a little bit between the arms. So my neck, I'm working hard to keep it neutral. Maybe you can walk your fingers forward a little more. And then we'll walk it over to the right, way over to the right. So you're getting this big side bend through the left side. And here I like to do this little cat and cow. If you want to play with that, sort of like a cat and cow with the spine here. Again, think of it as like pelvic tilt, because today we're really playing with the pelvis and the hips and kind of unlocking the pelvis. Come back to center, inhale, and over to the second side. Big stretch through that right side. Big breath into the right lungs. And come back to center, inhale. And get ready for downward dog. Spread the fingers, tuck your toes, reach your hips up and back. Downward facing dog. So a little bend in the knees. Reach your hips up as high as they can go. Take a big inhale. Make your muscles really strong in your arms and your legs. Exhale, breathe down towards the earth. Let the heels get heavy without locking the knees. See if you can keep reaching the hips nice and high. Just any little wiggles here. First downward dog with the claps. If you want to walk out the feet a little bit. Or just let the hips sway or move the head around. And then walk your hands to your feet, forward fold at the back of the mat. Bend the knees until your hands can touch the floor, or you can get your blocks under your hands as well. Just let your head dangle. Lift and spread the toes. Check out your feet right here. Make sure the arches of the feet are pulling into the foot. And the shin bone is kind of settling right into the ankle foot. So you don't want to lean back too far or forward too far. And maybe you rock forward and back a little to try to find in center, right where that shin bone lands in the ankle. And then imagine there's an X on your foot. So from the big toe, stretch energy to the outer heel. And from the pinky toe mound, stretch through the inner heel. Come halfway up on your inhale, fingertips on the floor or your blocks or your shins. Pull the heart forward. Keep the shoulders hugging into the back. And then let your heart lead the way. Exhale, fold all the way in. And do 2 more. Inhale, keep the legs super strong and steady. Pelvis nice and neutral. Pelvis nice and stable, and your low back neutral. Exhale, fold all the way in. 1 more. Inhale, nice strong legs. Big open heart, nice and expansive, bright. Exhale, fold in. Walk your hands forward to plank pose. Take your feet just a little bit wide, and you can always drop the knees at any time. And I like to drop the knees and then try to pull them back up again and kind of play in between, like when I need a little break. So take your feet just a little bit wide so you're kind of more stable in the legs. And pretend you're hugging the block like we did on hands and knees, and come to your right fingertips. And then right fingers down. Come to your left fingertips. And do your best not to play with that again. Do your best not to wobble too much in the hips, and so knees can be down. And you're just trying to stay super strong and stable in the back and the pelvis. And then lower all the way down, nice and slow. Work your arm strength, chaturanga. Stretch the legs long. Button up your pants. So pretend you're wearing jeans. You button your pants, zip them up. We're coming up to locust with just your hands hovering right under your shoulders. So big inhale, nice strong front body. Squeeze all the muscles on the back side. Try to get really strong in your back. Let your hands push down. Keep pulling the ribs into the body as you let your feet come down. Keep lifting into cobra. Nice deep breath in. Claw your hands and drag your heart forward. But from behind the ribs, keep stretching through the legs. Come all the way down. Exhale. Inhale, downward dog, however you get there. Take your time. Maybe go hands and knees, or you do a push-up. Downward dog. Big inhale, feel your muscles get strong, your joints. Really like the strength of your muscles, kind of stabilizing them. And then exhale, see if you can stretch a little longer without locking the joints, elbows, and the knees. Take your right leg up to the sky. Bend the knee, and big circles with your knee. So still do your best to stay stable in the pelvis. You're playing with moving the femur bone around as many different ways as it can go. So opening it and turning it in, maybe go under your belly. Nice strong belly, keep the ribs in. You can also play with the legs straight and circle. You can also do this same work with the knee down. We're going to get ready to step through, but take your time. So it goes like this. So downward dog, bend the knee. Keep the downward dog shape, but pull the thigh into the ribs. And pretend there's a piece of paper between your ribs and your thighs. You're squeezing it nice and tight as you come forward to plank pose. Shift the weight a little bit to the left. Come to the right fingertips, and then step through, lunge. Whew. Back knee down. And if you didn't quite make it, just pick your foot up, get it where it needs to go, the top of the mat. You might like to have your blocks here under the shoulders. Scoot your back knee back, low lunge. Inhale, open the heart, so just do a little movement here. Exhale, half splits, pull the hips back. Pull the right toes back. And what I want you to play with is moving from the pelvis, not the back. So as you pull the hips back, think about reaching your sit bones up and kind of scraping them up the wall back there. So my back is not moving really much at all. It's a lot of my pelvis mobility. So just play with it. So I don't want to see like this sort of thing where I'm round, like I don't want to cat and cow the spine. Okay, next time your hips are back in half splits, Keep pulling the toes back. Don't worry about straightening the leg. The knee can be bent. Reach your bum up and your sit bones wide, and then push your blocks down or your fingertips down and drag them back as you pull your heart forward. Keep reaching your bum kind of up and wide. So I'm really kind of working hard in the arms. I'm pulling them back so I can stretch my heart through. And for me, I feel it kind of back here in these muscles here. And then inhale back to your lunge. Take it a little wider, lizard. Just some big circles in the hips. Just trying to keep my knee roughly over the ankle. And my ankle pretty stable. I don't want to roll into the outer edge or inner edge of the ankle. And tuck your back toes, lift the back thigh. Take one of the blocks right into your quad. So you want it to be like on the meaty part. I actually step my front foot a little wider for this one. You don't want it to be on your knee. You want it to be on like the meaty, strong part of the femur bone and the quad. And this knee is right in that ankle foot. And some of you might want to go a little higher back here. You can add another block. But the block can help with kind of getting the femur bone to move back towards the hamstring. You also want to think about this front femur bone moving down towards the hamstring. And do your best to have a nice long back with the natural curves. So I'm not like rounding to get to the floor. I'm doing my best to keep my heart open, my ribs in the body, the belly strong, the pelvis hugging in. And then here you can play a little bit, like you can maybe point the toe back there. Or bend the knee like a hamstring curl. This is kind of intense, but I really like it. I'm going really slow. One more really big breath. And then from there, slowly let the block go and step back to plank pose. Come down nice and slow, chaturanga. Knees can come down. Locust, inhale, button your pants, zip them up. Squeeze the muscles on the back. Pretend you have that block there, hug it in. Push the hands down. Keep the ribs in the body as you lift the heart. Keep the shoulders moving on the back plane of the body as you lift your heart. Imagine that you're giving yourself a double chin. Let the throat pull back a little. And then down dog when you're ready. So however you get there, hands and knees, push up, big stretch. Let's take your first breath to arrive. Left leg up to the sky. Nice strong muscles. So again, this part could be on your knee. So we're doing big circles with the left hip. So again, think about how many different ways you can move the femur bone. So turning it in, turning it out, open it up, curl it in. Maybe you play with the straight leg a little bit. And then stay in your down dog. Bend the knee and pull the thigh into the ribs without coming forward to plank just yet. Keep reaching your hips up. Squeeze that piece of paper between your thigh and your ribs. Then keep that squeezing in nice and tight as you come forward plank. Fingertips on the left and then step through. Or you pick up your foot and get there into your lunge. So low lunge, hands under the shoulders. Scooch that back knee back so you're pretty long. So we're going back to that half splits. Think about digging that front heel down and pushing it forward as you reach the pelvis, the sit bones, up and wide. So do that a few times. And it's pretty slow work to really play with not just rounding the back. So doing your best to keep the back stable and strong. Dig your heel down and forward. Push the blocks or your fingers down. So if you had your fingers down, you can still pull back. As you pull your heart forward, reach your bum up and wide. Keep pulling your pinky toe back towards you. And then push the big toe mound forward. Maybe do one more. And then really play with that pulling back right here. Heart forward, ribs in the body, sit bones up and wide. And then come forward into that wider lizard, hands right under your chest. And then start with a little circle, a little rock around. And tuck the back toe, lift the back thigh. So the block's coming under the thigh bone. I think this is like you love it or hate it. I love it. If it totally bothers you, maybe a blanket instead of a hard block, or even a blanket over the block. But I kind of like the hard. I like it hard. But it can be, like, especially if you maybe are sore in your quads, that would be a lot. So this left foot, for me, I go a tiny bit wider when I add the block. Just make sure that shin is in the ankle foot. You're doing your best to anchor those four corners of the foot down. So like you did in your half splits, you still want to think about this nice strong back. Tailbone's just lengthening straight back. Natural curve in the low back. Natural curve in the back of the neck. Do your best to stay strong and stable in the shoulders. If you are up for a little play, maybe you roll this ankle back there. Maybe you go a little higher. So, feel free to experiment. Bend. If you bend, do it slow. Kind of notice at what point your spine wants to move, and that's where you stop, because we're trying to keep the spine strong and neutral. Take another big breath. And then slowly unwind yourself. Move the block out of the way. You're going to step forward to a squat. The back foot forward. I'm going to face you. And have a little wiggle. Just kind of land there. So lift and spread the toes. Make the leg muscles strong. If you need to put a block under your bum, that's a really nice way to work a squat. If you need a blanket under your feet, you can do that here as well. What you want to do is make sure you're working the muscles around the knee and the ankle, making your foot strong. So just take your first breath here. We're going to work a little bit in a sec. So deep breath in, relax your face, exhale. Okay, so from here, you're going to play with just lifting like a little hover. So take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, you just kind of engage all the muscles in the legs, and it's just a little hover, and then a rest. Just kind of feel the difference between kind of hanging out in a squat and really working and engaging. Just a little hug in, lift, and then a rest. So we're going to hold the next one a little bit longer. So deep breath in, exhale, hover. 3, 2, 1, and then rest. So this time we're going to stand from a squat, and you're doing your best to move from the pelvis Keep your heart open and your spine really strong and slow. And it's fine to use your hands on your legs if you need to at some point. But working really hard, like babies are so good, like toddlers are so good at this. They go up and down like this all day long. So deep breath in, exhale, push, slow, keep the heart lifting, squeeze your legs, squeeze your butt, keep the knees stable, and stand. Whew, shake it out. Oh my goodness, okay. So we're gonna play with a little balance here. Shake that out. You might like to be by a wall. This is like a stud on the wall. Or have a chair. So we're gonna go, face this way. So lift and spread the toes. A little bend in the knees. Shift your weight to the left. Pick up your right leg, make it strong, flex the foot, and then big circles. So we did this in downward dog. Just play with moving the femur bone around in the hip, go the other way, and use the wall if you need it. So I'm trying to stay stable in that bottom leg, and then pull the knee in front, and it's like, think about the femur bone, externally rotate, and internally rotate. And we're gonna go figure 4 from here. So externally rotate and let the ankle land on the thigh. Hands at the heart or your hips, wherever you like. And again, working the stability of the pelvis and the mobility and just keeping the back really strong. So doing your best to keep your heart lifted. And just think of like a single leg squat. So it's coming from the pelvis. Try to keep the weight kind of more back in the heel, like you're trying to reach a chair. You can't quite reach it with your bum. And you can keep working this balance here. If you do want to start to fold forward a little more, play with, you might need that block under. Play with keeping that bottom leg bent for the first bit. So block would go under the right hand, and then left hand on the foot here. And then just do your best to re-engage that stability in the bottom leg. I tend to really widen, so my work is big toe down. And then push really strong into the bottom of this foot. And from the outer hip, push all the way back into that hand. Keep reaching your bum up. You can start to straighten the leg, but don't just lock the knee. Keep reaching your hips up. Again, you can also be balancing here or just rest whenever you need rest. Bring the foot down. But if you're working here, it's a strong push with the hand, strong push with the leg. And when you push, you might be able to fold a little deeper. Keep reaching the hips up. Do your best to have the natural curve in the low back. And then when you're ready to come out, you can either just gently bring your foot down or come back to standing and step out. Shake it out. Some big hip circles. And then second side. So bring your block nearby. If you know you need it, go to your wall if you need it. So second side, I'm doing left. Just make sure you're on your second side. Start with your big circles. So bending this standing leg is going to help a lot with the stability. It's fine to kind of move around a little bit, but play with the awareness of the femur bone in the pelvis. In and out. Bring it in front, externally rotate, and let the ankle land on the thigh. Just take your first breath there. Make sure this foot's really strong. The toes kind of tend to point up towards your face. Karate chop the toes down so this ankle is straight. And then a little bit of like a single leg squat. So you stick your butt back, Your back is super strong. As you reach your butt back, you keep the ribs in the body, trying to keep your heart nice and open. Feel free to play with what the arms do. Maybe they reach up, maybe they reach forward. And if you do want to start to fold forward, keep this leg bent to start. Coming from the pelvis, your sit bones reach up and wide. So maybe you need 2 blocks to get here. Another way to work it. Because it is a little extra hip opener when you can get this push on the foot and the hand. So if you can use this or a chair right here, nice strong back, neutral, natural curve in the low back. As you reach your sit bones up and wide, keep pushing leg and foot into that hand. And I'm not just dropping my head. I think about like letting my sit bones lead the way, and then the heart is leading the way this over here. So my sit bones initiate the movement, reaching up, and my heart is leading the way as I bow in. Relax your face. And then either using your hand to help your foot come out. I like to stand. Whoop. Holy moly, that's a lot of leg work. Shake it out. Bring one hand to your heart, one hand on your belly. There's a little soft bend in the knees. And just take a deep breath in, moment to pause and check in, reconnect. Feel your feet touching the earth. Maybe feeling your heartbeat. Feel the air on your skin. Just taking a moment to pause and feel sensation in the body. Okay, so from here, we're going to come to the floor for some ball rolling on our bum. You could actually stay at the wall for this if you would prefer to stay at the wall. These aren't really real walls, so I'm going to show you on the floor, but everything we're doing on the floor you can do at the wall. So you'll need one ball and come onto your back. Just take your first breath to land here. Maybe a little windshield wiper with the knees. Just letting yourself arrive on your back. Take a big inhale and a long exhale. And then you'll take the ball under your right bum and just start with this. Just start with like an exploration or rolling around. Getting up all over your bum, up to the top, to the side. Stay on the right side. And then start to kind of pause. So you find your spot, pause, breathe. Move it a little bit, pause and breathe. You'll find those tender spots that need a little extra attention. So you can really try to get all over your bum. You don't really need to get right on the sit bone where it attaches to the leg, right in there. You don't need that part, but really try to get like these big meaty muscles around your bum, especially over here on the side is a really nice spot. So you can kind of roll a little bit onto that right hip. There's kind of like this dent where the hip and the leg bone connect, and that's that's my favorite spot. You can hang out in there. And you can play around with moving the legs. So taking that right knee, you find a spot and you can move the knee to the side. You can stretch it forward. So go very slow, pinning the ball, but then play with moving the limb. Just check in with the shoulders and the neck. Just notice how, if anything is creeping up into the neck or the jaw. Just try to relax things that don't need to be working. And then one last little bit on this side is try to get up into like the rim of the pelvis. So like right up here. And roll the ball up and around. You can also go onto your side a little bit here. So if you're at the wall, I just kind of rolling like a bear on the wall, like a bear scratching its back. So take like one more minute here. And then let the ball go and just feel the difference in right and left. Your legs can be bent or you can stretch them straight. And just feel and try to notice how the whole side of that right side feels, all the way down to your toes and all the way up through that right shoulder and even the skull. And just notice the difference, not just in the pelvis, but all the way up that whole right, up and down that right side. And then get ready to switch. So taking the ball under your left bum. So I like to start with the roll first. You kind of roll around and explore. It's a little bit of like a warming up the fascia. This is actually really nice at the wall. If you are at the wall, there's nothing better or worse. It's a little trickier when you're on the floor to kind of roll around a lot. And then find those little spots you want to pause and get a little heavier into. So this is another, like if you were at the wall, it would be less intense. You can make it more intense when you're on the floor here. Just a little more weight you can kind of push into. So you find your spot, big, long breath in, and long breath out. And then if you want to play with moving the legs, so you pin the ball in your spot, and then do it very slowly, because when you move the leg, it kind of changes the sensation and the location of the fascia fibers. They're kind of moving around. So I like to do like a circle, and then also take the knee wide. I really love that. And then you can also try to stretch the leg long, which for me, that's kind of intense. Don't forget to get in that kind of this little dent here. You will know when you find it. So roll a little bit onto that left side. Find your hip there, like where the femur bone meets the hip. And then also, last little bit, try to get the rim of the pelvis. So you're going up and around this bone here, kind of staying on top of it. It's fine to go on the bone. We kind of want to play with getting in the bone there, like right under it. And then again, if you want to get over onto that side over here. Switch around. Your bum here. So another spot you can kind of pin, and then you play with the leg. Bend, straighten, bend. And then when you feel like you had enough, once again, pause. We're going to get ready for Shavasana here. So any last little wiggles that you like to do, maybe rock around a little bit. Any last pose that your body needs. A little gentle twist if you need to. And then if you like to have any props for Shavasana, like a blanket rolled up under the knees, or a blanket over your body, more for weight rather than warmth. And take a blanket across the pelvis, or a blanket across the torso, and an eye pillow if you like. So whatever you need to get yourself nice and cozy. Relax your fingers and toes. Let your bones settle into the earth. And let gravity help you settle into stillness. Unhinge your jaw, soften your tongue. Resting in Shavasana. Breathing in, one knows they are breathing in. And breathing out, one knows they are breathing out. Breathing in, one knows the body. Breathing out, one knows the body. Breathing in, one calms the body. Breathing out, one calms the body. Breathing in, one knows peace. Breathing out, one knows deep peace. Breathe into your belly, your lungs, and your heart. As you exhale, gently bring movement to the body, wiggle fingers and toes. And reach your arms overhead, take a lazy stretch. And bend your knees and rest on your side. And stay there for at least one breath cycle. And come to seated as you're ready, sitting tall. And bring one hand to the heart, one hand to the belly. And just take a moment to honor your efforts for showing up today. And bring your hands together in front of your heart. May you be happy and peaceful. May you be healthy and strong. May you be safe and protected. May you be loved and live with ease. And may all beings benefit from your yoga practice. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.